It was the most personal I've ever heard John McCain talking about his POW experience. And the rest of it, well, he was less partisan than you might have expected. It was, as they suggested it would be, a very elevated speech talking about working together and getting along and not attacking Barack Obama overtly. They got through it.
They got through it. You know, I think.
Boy, you know that's actually. You know what? In the newspaper, the Gettysburg Gazette, the day after the Gettysburg Address, you know, of course, they said of Lincoln, he got through it.
Okay,
I mean, come on, talk about damning with praise.
Do you really want to go there?
Yeah,
do we want to put Gettysburg up?
But getting through it, whether the oratory is beautiful or not,
flat, boring.
Doesn't necessarily have an impact on who wins if you look at history.
No, look, I think that's certainly right, the Gettysburg analogy aside. Look, I think what the biggest problem with the speech, and obviously there's a compelling life story and a biography there that nobody's going to take away from John McCain and what Senator Obama talks about often. But, you know, and I said this yesterday, and I think this is true for the whole convention, having watched, do you leave St. Paul knowing what the Republican Party wants to do this fall? Do we know what direction they want to take this country? Do we know how they want to help put people back to work? We'll get the unemployment report in a few minutes, and my guess is that we've got 8 straight months of job loss after 8 bad years of George Bush's economy.
Let me ask Chuck Todd, because it seems to me the one thing that the Republicans were certain of this week, and I'm not being facetious either, was the fact they wanted to, quote, drill, baby, drill. Where does it go? Where does it go beyond that?
Well, look, if you asked me a week ago whether John McCain was going to make a compelling argument that he was going to be a change candidate, I would have laughed. And a week later, and Robert, I mean, they have done this. They have transformed their campaign. They finally have figured out how to break from Bush, the naming of Governor Palin. I mean, and you guys watched him do it. You guys didn't seem to hit him hard on this, that he was able to do this. He was able to bring himself and push that he's a reformer.
We've got some leftover change T-shirts that they can try to sell. But look, here's why I don't think this worked. I mean, look at the convention as a whole.
Wait a minute, 37 million people tuned into Sarah Palin who made an argument about reform and change, never talked about ideology, only talked about, I mean, and oh, by the way, probably more people tuned in on the major networks than for her than for your candidate.
Well, we'll see.
I don't think that's actually true.
Actually, it is
less
true.
Fewer cable channels carry
more
the
networks.
You had 10 networks. She had 7.
I mean,
6.
I count cable.
No, counts cable.
Yeah,
we all
counted
count
everything.
You guys had BET and
But the bottom line is
Univision,
that she had a huge audience.
No, I definitely think she had a huge audience. I don't think the message in this entire convention worked. You had these harshly partisan speeches. Lindsey Graham sounded like Niedermeyer from Animal House last night, and then you walk up there. And
I like Niedermeyer. Wasn't he one of the good guys?
And John McCain talks
I love
about,
that reference.
I'm going to work. I want to reach out my hand and work with anybody who wants to work with me. That doesn't.
Wait a minute.
I called my son Niedermeyer this weekend.
Is that the one that says "Remain calm, all is calm"?
Yeah, this is the guy who's the pledge pin guy. I mean,
pledge.
Right?
Oh my
exactly.
God!
Unclear if Lindsay's got a pledge pin or if somebody forgot to wear.
The person they were watching was John McCain. And John McCain has come out of this convention with a running mate who has reached out and resonated with women, even women who are pro-choice.
I don't doubt any of that. I don't doubt any of that. But when was the last time you walked into a voting booth and voted for the vice presidential nominee? You asked Michael Beschloss.
I was a big Quell guy in '88.
Well, I know. Well, the results speak for themselves. But I think you asked this of Michael Beschloss yesterday. There's no historical example. I know this is a different election, but I don't think that works. I mean, let's be honest here. But let's be honest. You can say change. You can say change 10 times in a speech, 15 times in a speech. You can say reform. The truth is there's not an economic policy that was pointed to last night or at all in this convention that's one iota different from George Bush.
Let me ask Andrea
look, you can give
and
a speech,
Chuck.
but it doesn't mean you change.
Andrea and Chuck, let's put that through the truth-o-meter. I really can't think of a lot. If he had come out aggressively and talked about there's big difference on taxes. We want to extend the Bush tax cuts. We believe now's the wrong time to raise taxes. You could have pointed to that, but where did John McCain go? Again, other than drilling to say, this is how we're different from Barack Obama.
Which George Bush supports.
It was a traditional small government, traditional Republican argument. I mean, those are the contrasts. Less taxes, less government, and drilling, yes, a different energy policy. So I don't see the policy contrasts.